For an upcoming family vacation, we've planned a lot of historical and sightseeing tours for the adults. However, these kinds of excursions aren't always that much fun for the younger members of the family. To help make the trip a bit more exciting, I thought it'd be fun to find some age-appropriate digital cameras for my 11 and 6-year-olds, so they can have fun documenting their own vacation experience while keeping them occupied. In this video, I take a look at two very fun, inexpensive digital cameras, the Bofypoo vlogging camera and the Tondozen kids camera. When it comes to the Bofypoo vlogging camera, it's actually pretty well stocked for content and accessories. The camera itself is made of a plastic and very lightweight, which you'd expect for the $112 price tag. However, the silver buttons all appear to be metal, which will hopefully help with durability. The design actually reminds me of one of my first ever Sony cameras from 20 years ago, and the layout is very familiar. While you can charge the battery in the camera, it's packaged with a small battery cradle that you can use to connect to a power supply with the included USB-A to mini USB cable. And there's a good reason for the extra hardware, as the camera comes with a second battery. Other accessories include the power brick and two different straps. One with a quick release that goes around your neck, and the other is a wrist strap. What the camera doesn't include is a memory card, but thankfully there are some inexpensive options on Amazon. I decided to try my luck with the Silicon Power 128GB micro SD card, and I bought it for only $13 on sale. But Bofypoo doesn't recommend using U3 class memory cards, so we'll see if I end up having to buy something more expensive later. During my early testing though, it worked fine. The Tondozen kids camera has fewer accessories, but that's expected for the much lower price point. Inside the Tondozen box, you'll find the camera itself, which is already in its very fun silicone carrying case. Plus, there's a charging cable, and there's a nice neck strap. One nice touch is that the Tondozen kids camera does come with a 32GB U3 memory card, which saves owners a bit of money. The camera does support up to 128GB if you do want to upgrade though. The Bofypoo camera has a bunch of pretty standard features, including a 16x digital zoom and an auto power off mode, which is actually ideal for forgetful children to make sure that the camera has power when they actually need it. In terms of the photography options, it includes a lot of different resolutions for such a cheap camera. Plus, there are 9 different shooting modes to choose from, including the default auto option. While it's nice to have the options, I'm fairly certain my 11-year-old will keep it in auto mode most of the time. When set to auto, the camera will automatically choose the best settings based on the subject, lighting and composition. One additional fun feature is Beauty Face, which digitally touches up any portrait images. It's a feature that's widely available in more expensive digital cameras and also mobile phones now. The feature applies an artificial cosmetic look that smooths out the skin of a subject to appear more appealing. The camera also features a self-timer for taking selfies with or without a tripod. The final main feature is the anti-shake mode that applies some digital stabilization to keep photos in focus. Checking the images, I was expecting it to crop the image to achieve the effect, but I couldn't really detect any changes that would adversely affect the images. The options for videography are much more limited as far as I can tell. There is just the option to swap between 1080p, 720p or 480p resolution. My own inclination and recommendation is to leave the camera in 1080p. Most modern devices you'd use to review the content, such as modern TVs, computers and phones, start at 1080p resolution and are usually much higher resolution. Provided you have a big enough memory card installed, shooting everything in a higher resolution won't really affect your ability to store lots of videos. The Tondozen, by comparison to the surprisingly impressive Bofypoo camera, is very much positioned as a toy. The design, build and performance for photographs and videos are all acceptable for the $33 I paid on sale. The photographs captured a low resolution and reflect the quality of a cheap lens and sensor, even though it captures a maximum of 12 megapixel images. There is a fun selfie mode using a tiny camera on the reverse where the fake viewfinder is located. Just like the still images, the video performance is poor even on the max 1080p setting. The video proportions are warped and the resolution is very low, reminding me of an old VHS home video camera. The audio from the tiny cheap microphone on the front of the camera is also largely unreliable for clear playback.
Sit! See? Sit! Good girl.
The camera does feature 3 simple games, which further reinforces that the Tondozen is just meant to be a toy. There are a myriad of other settings which have some utility, especially the auto off settings, to help preserve the battery for forgetful young owners. The final feature is the ability to play music stored on the memory card. Should you want to, it is possible to transfer audio files to the camera, but it's really only a gimmick. Overall, I'm very surprised at the general quality and performance of the Bofypoo camera, but the Tondozen camera delivers exactly the performance you'd expect for a toy. The Bofypoo camera isn't priced as a negligible purchase for most, but it certainly won't hurt as much should your child accidentally break it or lose it. The build quality suggests it won't stand up to overly rough handling, but with a careful owner, the features and performance make the Bofypoo a very good beginner digital camera. As for the Tondozen camera, it's perfect for those with very young children. It actually feels more robust than the Bofypoo camera and should weather a few tumbles. The Tondozen photos and videos captured should provide some fun memories, albeit not very clear or audible ones. At the current sale price, it really doesn't matter as much and should be viewed more like a disposable camera. We're going to be putting the cameras through a real-world test while we travel, and if you're interested in seeing the results, be sure to check out my other Instagram account, How to Travel Tech. Thanks for watching, and as always, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos on the connected home and personal technology.